Think your credit score is healthy? You could be dead wrong, and your daily habits could be silently killing it. My name is Dominic Jackson, co-owner and CEO of Guaranteed Financial Consulting. You can call me Coach D. And today we are going to explore 7 habits that could be sabotaging your credit score. So let's go. So let's talk about habit number 1. Habit number 1, late payments. I know you're probably thinking, I already knew that. Yep, late payments. Late payments affect up to 35% of your credit score. Here's the reality. Did you know a single late payment affects your score by up to 3 digits? That's right. One single 30-day late could affect your credit score over 100 points. That's why it's extremely important to make sure you're taking care of late payments, that they're not being reported. Okay. Here are some tips. Have conversations with creditors before you allow something to go 30 days late. Did you think of that? Pick up the phone and actually call them. There are programs out there. There are things that happen, especially during COVID, during pandemic, and different things that have been put in place. Make sure you have a conversation. Another thing is sometimes it's just oversight. It's as simple as you just forgot. You're busy. You're in a job where you're gone all the time. You're doing things. Life is going on, right? So make sure you set reminders. Set it up on automatic payment. You do want to do some due diligence in that. Sometimes automatic payments actually have an expiration date. So make sure if you do set it up on automatic payments that you actually know if it's going to stay that way or if it stops at a certain time and you need to reset it up. So you always want to do your due diligence when doing anything like that and try to do something so that it doesn't get reported as being late. Okay. Habit 2. In habit 2, we're going to talk about credit utilization. This is one of my biggies, okay? Because credit utilization is 30% of your credit score. Now, what is credit utilization? So utilization is determined based on your available credit. So let's say you have a $1,000 available credit limit to you. So that could be 2 credit cards of 500, 5 of 200, 1 of 1,000. Okay. Your utilization is how much you use of that $1,000. So if you utilize all $1,000, you have 100% utilization. Now you can make all of your payments every single month and never miss a payment. Your credit score, however, is going to tank. And I'm talking tank big time in the hundreds of points. Utilization preferred is 30%, meaning you don't use more than $300 of that 1,000. Excellent is 10% or below, meaning you're only using 100 of 1,000. This is the responsibility part of it. So keep in mind, utilization plays a huge factor in credit scores. Now, you may or may not know that I'm a finance director in the automotive industry as well. And I see this every single day of consumers that I work with who's never missed a payment in their life, but their credit scores are low because their utilization is extremely high. The only thing that is holding their credit score back is because they use too much of the available credit. And so creditors, or the algorithm, I should say, sees that as irresponsible. So something to keep in mind in your utilization. Okay, so let's talk about habit number 3. Habit number 3 is applying for credit too often. A lot of times I see consumers trying to get credit and they just keep applying and applying and applying and applying. Or sometimes in the different industries, you may go to try to get a car loan, for instance. This is a big one. I hear this a lot. And a lot of times they will shop you around to get you the best rate or try to get you approved. It's important to make sure you set some standards ahead of time if you don't want that to happen. Okay. Because when you shop like that, or you're trying to get credit, okay, sometimes that can affect you through hard inquiries. There are different inquiries. There's soft and hard. A soft inquiry is not going to show up on your credit report. That's kind of like a look in. see if we want to offer this person credit, maybe offer them a pre-approval, okay, but you haven't given them permission. They're just looking in. So that doesn't get reported. But if you give someone permission, they actually look at your credit and actually go in to give you a loan or a credit card, that's a hard inquiry, and that's going to affect your credit score. Now, here's some important things to understand on inquiries, okay? They only show up for 2 years max. So if you find an inquiry that's being reported on your credit report that's over 2 years old, you need to contact them and have it removed immediately. Another factor is they typically only affect your score for up to 12 months. So after 12 months, that inquiry isn't necessarily affecting you like you may think. Other important things to understand is when you are shopping for such things as a mortgage or an automobile, you typically do have time to be able to shop, okay? Or what we call a right to shop. As consumers, if I have to go with the first mortgage that is offered to me, but it could be extremely high rate and I can't shop it, does that seem fair? No, you have up to 30 days. Typically in the automobile side, 15 days. So if you did have 10 inquiries, a lot of times it's only seen as one because you have the right to shop as a consumer. You don't want to have to take the very first thing that comes your way when number 10 could be 3% better. Okay. So that's something to keep in mind. But when you're trying to apply for credit a lot, that can affect your credit score. Now, habit number four is closing out old credit cards. I have a lot of consumers, a lot of times we do classes and teach, and they always ask, should I close this credit card? Or they'll tell us, I just close these old credit cards because I never use them. Well, that can hurt your credit extremely bad. Why? Because age of credit history is 15% of your credit score. And why do you need to close it? If you don't use it, leave the account there because that gives you great age. Now, closing the account may not affect it necessarily right away, depending on the type of account, but it will eventually, especially once it falls off. Now, something to keep in mind in closing, especially an old credit card, it can not only affect age eventually, but it also affects the utilization we talked about in one of the previous habits, because now you don't have access to that limit. So if you had an old credit card with $1,000, you just lost $1,000 of available credit to you by closing that account out. Just leave it open. You do not need to close it. You can have as many accounts. Matter of fact, the more accounts you have, the better for your credit. Okay. We'll talk about that in another video, but just keep in mind, closing old credit cards can actually hurt your credit score, not help it. Okay, so in habit 5, we're going to talk about ignoring your credit report. When you ignore your credit report, you miss potential errors that could pop up. And the reality is they happen all the time. Matter of fact, according to recent studies, information that was provided to the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, over 70% of credit reports actually have errors. Now, they could be minor errors that aren't affect or don't affect a credit score, but there are many errors on a credit report. And so it's important to always monitor your credit reports, monitor the information that's going in and out. These things are updated sometimes every day. Lenders report at different times, different days. And so information is constantly going in and going out, falling off, being updated. And so you always want to make sure that you monitor your credit reports. Simple mistakes. Identity theft is still the #1 crime in America. It's probably not going anywhere. Okay. So you want to make sure that you are monitoring things and keeping up on it so that you know what's being done, what's going on. And so just keep that in mind. Make sure you're always monitoring your credit. Again, we'll provide information down below to some credit monitoring companies that we do recommend as well. All right. And habit number 6, let's talk about co-signing on them loans. That's right. Co-signing on a loan has the potential to be extremely harmful to you as a consumer. And unfortunately, it happens a lot. I see this every day almost in working with our clients, working with clients in the automobile industry who have co-signed for kids or family members. And of course, they missed the payment, haven't been making payment, and that, of course, again, will affect you as the consumer. So just keep in mind when you are co-signing, you are taking on that risk, and I'm sure you're well aware of that. But these are one of those habits that are sneaky and you think you're doing a good thing. That's why with our kids, the best way to do it is to get them started early. Get them on one, especially if you are a parent and you have access to a great credit card that you had a long time, you pay it off every month, or you keep an extremely low balance, then set them up as an authorized user on that account. Once they have established credit, then have them get their own credit that they can now get because they have an actual credit score and they have credit history. And now they're more likely to get one on their own. Then you teach them how to use that credit card. Okay. You teach them how to use that so that they can build their own credit. And now when they need to get that car or want to get that car, they don't need you to co-sign. They actually have established credit at a young age, and you can have them get their own approval for a car loan and then teach them how to manage it and be responsible with it. That's the proper way to do it so that you don't have to put yourself at risk. God forbid something does go awry. Now, in habit 7, let's talk about a lack of diversification. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, credit scores, again, 10% of your credit score is based on a mix of credit, meaning the types of credit. So you want to have loan, you want to have credit cards, charge cards, mortgage loan. Okay. So those are different accounts or different things that you want to be able to have. Because again, mix is 10%. They want to see how you can manage different types or different items. Okay. So make sure that if you can get access to those things, get access to a credit card and a charge card. Okay. Charge card is different than a credit card because a credit card allows you to carry a balance. A charge card makes you pay it off at the end of every single month, the full balance. Okay. But again, mortgages, car loans, personal loans, those are just different types of credit, and it's showing that you can manage or diversify your credit profile. You're not just all credit cards. Okay. So that's something to keep in mind is diversification, because again, it's 10% of your credit score. So in conclusion, those 7 habits that could be sabotaging your credit are late payments, high credit utilization, applying too often for credit, closing old credit cards, ignoring your credit report, co-signing on them loans, and again, a lack of diversification. Remember, it is always important to have good, healthy credit habits. This is what is going to allow you to keep your credit score where you want it so that you can then learn to leverage your credit score to build wealth and do other things. You definitely don't want to be paying that high interest. Now, if you found this video useful, I need you to do me a favor. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that we can continue to bring you more valuable tips and information on a daily. So let's get it.